Thank you, Ronan, for joining us today. It's a treat to talk to someone from outside India and get their perspective of a different geography and how e-commerce is growing or adapting in that region. So welcome to the show. Ronan, why don't you give our audience a bit of information about you and the EGI group?
Yeah, with pleasure. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, so I'm a French e-commerce entrepreneur based in Spain, Barcelona, for 17 years now. I've been working on the e-commerce industry for more than 18 years now, and I'm still passionate about the retail digital transformation. A bit of my background, but to be very quick, my first experience as a commerce expert was in 2003 when I was the first employee of a German company called Redkuhn. It's been bought by another German company some years later. And basically, I was involved in the process of launching this activity on the Spanish market. Okay, so we start in 2003 with 2 guys in a flat, €0 turnover. And in 2 years, 2 years and a half, we were already 40 employees. We had 2,000 square meters of warehouse and a turnover around 30 million euros on a B2C selling electronic goods, so TV, camcorder, and stuff like that. So at the end of 2005, we were already having this turnover. So that was a crazy experience, really. Very powerful for me, very useful, very energetic, and I fall in love with the e-commerce industry. I think at this time, and since then I'm still, as I say, very enthusiastic about the sector and very passionate about it. So my activity now is I'm not an e-commerce anymore. I've got some investment in small DNVBs, digital native vertical brands, but I'm not, let's say, active e-commerce entrepreneur anymore. My main job is to connect tech innovation from the e-commerce industry with potential customers. So I identify new technologies of retail, new technologies of e-commerce, new martech that could interest retailers and brands, and I will connect them, those startups, this innovation with potential customers, retailers, brands, and e-commerce. Mainly on the Spanish market, of course, where I'm based, but also in the European market, where I have a lot of contacts.
You're a key influencer in the e-commerce space in Spain, for sure. And you have these 3 large groups that you moderate and you manage on LinkedIn. These are extremely large communities on LinkedIn already, and they're all focused around e-commerce. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. I mean, the chance that I have in this is because why my group are so big is because I've been one of the first mover. In 2003, the e-commerce in Spain was not very big, actually. So I've started very soon. I've been very focused on my industry. I've done many things in this industry, but I've been always working on this industry. And even if I'm not right now producing any specific content, it's true that my culture, my knowledge about all the e-commerce industry, all the technology that exists is very wide. So when I do my newsletter, for instance, this is what I do. I just do a curation, a selection of interesting news, and I classified it according to my mental classification or my knowledge of the sector. And yes, I think it's quite interesting for the members of the community. But it's true that I started very soon to try to create some interaction and to help the community, the e-commerce community, to develop itself in Spain, because I was the founder or the co-founder of the first e-commerce trade show on the Spanish market. So I've done the first e-commerce, let's say, national broad event with more than, I think we had at the first edition, we have like 5,000 persons on the first edition. I created that in 2010. So the industry has evolved a lot since then. But yes, I've been one of the first person to really push the visibility of the e-commerce industry and to help this community to contact with each other.
I think everyone watching knows what's been happening in Spain for the last month and a half with the pandemic situation. Everywhere, including Spain, lockdowns are getting extended. So how has retail reacted in this environment? I'm guessing it's been badly affected, but and more specifically, how has e-commerce helped as a channel in Spain and maybe wider in Europe as well?
Spanish market in this case did not have a very, very different reaction from the other countries in Europe. Of course, we have seen a lot of retailers or industry badly impacted by the crisis. The tourism, travel, of course, hotels and so on. Fashion also, of course, the fashion industry has been very, very impacted online and offline in this case, because of course, offline, all the industries of the retail industries have been impacted offline, sorry. But in the case of fashion, it was also impacted, I think, online, because when you are stuck at home, you don't want to buy a fancy dress or a new bag to go out, because you don't go out, basically. I think right now it's better, huh? But at the beginning of the crisis, it's been very, very deeply impacted. And of course, obviously, for goods of necessity like groceries, alimentation, and stuff, well, the online canal has been soaring because it was the only way to access not the only way. It was one of the most convenient way and safe way to access basic goods and alimentation. So I think it was nothing really specific to the Spanish industry. What I've seen, some statistics which I didn't know that could happen. You've seen that products like electronic goods has been also doing very well during the crisis. It's true that people who didn't have a nice TV or a video game console maybe take the occasion to spend their money there. Yep. But at the end of the day, I mean, as I said, it's nothing like very different from the rest of the European countries. Of course, the result of this is that the positive result for the e-commerce industry is that first there is a generalized conscience of, it's not like nice to have, it's not like, okay, I should be digitalized, I should digitalize my channels, I should think of an omnichannel strategy. No, it's not should, but you have to. I mean, it's do or die, basically. So now I think this concept is clearly getting stronger and accepted by all the retailers, whatever would be their vertical of product. I think this kind of the penetration rate of, I don't know, fashion retail, for instance, in the online sector was higher than alimentation, grocery, for instance. In Spain, I think the medium rate for fashion was around 10%, and grocery, it was not even 1%. Not even 1% of the good were sold in the online channels. So now I think that whatever is the product or services that you're selling, that the online channel is not a nice to have, it's a must have, to do or die. And by the way, I don't know how some retailers who are not ready or who are not active on the digital, I don't know how they will survive. I think we have a concrete case, Primark in the UK. I think they stopped their e-commerce activity 2 or 3 years ago. And what have they done during the crisis? I mean, what are they doing right now? I don't know. We should see that. So the first thing is that now the concept of, okay, should I really be able to connect all my channels to have a unified commerce strategy? Unified commerce, talk about the omni-channel strategies. The other question would be, do we have really what it takes in terms of investment possibilities, HR possibilities, know-how, internal culture, tech culture? Do we have what it takes to really do it properly? That's another question. In Spain, for instance, there are many retailers that are, let's say, small and medium retailers, because the retail sector is very atomized. So if we compare with France, for instance, in France, we have very big, large retailers that are leader in all the French market, but also have other countries where they are also quite strong, So of course, these kind of big retailers, tier 1 retailers, they have a lot of possibility to invest money, take the best employees, take the best consultancies, take the best technologies, and to really, really implement a unified commerce / omni-channel strategy. When you are a Spanish retailer and you are only have 30 shops in Catalonia or in Andalusia, because you are not the same, you know, the retail is so atomized in Spain that you can be the leader in Catalonia, so northeast of Spain, and do not have any shop in the south or in the in Basque Country, for instance. So when you have this kind of size, you don't have the critical size to be able to properly invest in technology, in human resource and expertise. So that's quite complicated for you to really have a proper and effective unified commerce omnichannel strategy. So I don't know what all those players will do, but it's not easy. This situation is not easy for them, for sure. The question, more or less, that that we can ask, we just can't generalize as what will be the future of retail. Of course, it depends. Are you a brand? Do you have a D2C activity? I mean, you're a brand, but you only sell through other retailers. Maybe it's time to disintermediate and to take the control of your customers, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your retailer, what is your size? What kind of product do you sell? Are you strong enough, big enough to really have to compete with Amazon? Because at the end of the day, if you're a retailer and you don't sell your own product, because Amazon can sell it everywhere, cheaper than you, better than you, what will you do? And then you're a startup. Do you have enough? You're a DNVB. Do you have enough money? Do you have enough energy to resist the crisis? Because of course, the crisis is affecting the players of the market. Yeah.
Because of your position as an influencer and the fact that you look at the horizon and you look at it, you scan for interesting innovation or technology or marketing techniques coming out. And I think that's what my understanding is, that you look at new opportunities coming out or new companies coming out with new technologies and match them with opportunities in the Spanish / European space. What do you see that's changed? Do you see in the startup world, in the early stage companies, do you see them adapting to this environment from, let's say, a marketing tech perspective or just from a retail tech perspective? Are those companies adapting their own technologies for a post-COVID?
No, I think it's too soon for them to adapt their technology. Of course, there are technologies that are more useful in this moment, and those kind of technology, of course, then are booming for sure. But I think what I see most on all the portfolio startups that we have in EGI, most of the startups, what they do, in order to avoid to lose a customer, what they do is they are very, very empathic with their customers, retailers and brands, and or they give discounts, or they give 3 months services, or they switch to a monthly fee model, to a CPA model. In the case that they improve the conversion, for instance, the conversion rate, then they switch to one model to another. So yeah, I think there have been I have some of my startups that have been very, very affected. They lost I think more than 50% of their turnover, of their monthly recurring revenue, MRR. And yeah, they are also suffering the fact that right now most of the retailers have to cut costs and to focus on solving the crisis or surviving. But I think that quickly this bad situation will revolve on a more positive situation for them, because again, okay, right now we are in a crisis, so let's cut the cost, let's try to survive. But after that, hey, what can we do in order to avoid this kind of situation to exist again? So yes, let's find some tools to be able to, okay, the store are closed. What do we do? Are we really able to deliver an effective online experience to my customer? Yes or no? Is it possible? What kind of tool can help me to do that?
You have an online event coming up. It's called One-to-One Europe. Is that what it's called?
Virtual one-to-one, because exactly we had to do exactly the same than any other company. You know, one of my main activities is to connect innovation of e-commerce and retail with retailers within B2B professional event. Normally we do it in 5-star hotel near Barcelona or near Madrid. It's quite enjoyable to be there. And of course, right now it's totally impossible to organize such a format of event. So we have been forced to pivotate, to find some new tools who could more or less offer the same kind of experience that we offer offline to our customer, but in this case, virtually. So we will do the first edition of this event, Virtual One-to-One Europe, the 16th and 17th of June. And we will use two different tools to give this experience to our community. One tool specifically to organize one-to-one meetings between the solution providers, agencies, and tech, retail and the buyers, the retailers, e-commerce, and brands. And one other tool, we will enhance the casual networking. So people will be able to interact between them without any filter before that.
Sounds super interesting.
Yeah, we've been working very hard this last month and a half to find this new way of doing things, and we have it's totally new for us. So we are a bit stressed, I must say, but hopefully we already have some very nice e-commerce solution providers. We have some very nice merchants who will attend from different countries in Europe. So everything should be okay.
Awesome. I'll include that in the links below the video.
Okay, super.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll have a few more signups from India.
That would be great.
Thank you, Ronan, so much for coming on our talks at Tenovia, and we really appreciate the time and your thoughts.
A pleasure, Murali. A pleasure to be with you guys. Un saludo desde Barcelona para toda la comunidad de India. Just a cheers to everyone in India.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.